Run! There, bones are right!
I don't even try, I guess I can't help it. I'm a little bro, for life we talking, now I step with it. Thought she could beat me at talking, ain't no back and forth, until we catch up with it. Not gonna blame me, man, I done fell in love with it. You can't say fresh in the cute one, and the cute look good, it's annoying. You type like the type of good, that match me, ain't no shit. Tell me she don't like bullshit, man, your friends, you your room. You found to my mood, make that dance, ain't no room. We can go back for it. Gotta buy that camera, I'm the cute and chick. We can go watch it.
Let's go.
Actually, such thick. You might touch to something, boy. I'm about to hit the point for a hard hit. Time for that hard hitter. What the fuck is this?
Lambo parked on a landing strip, everyone in my gang and my DJ paid. Wise man talking about inshallah, these kinds he don't even pray. Wise man wearing Jesus peace, squeezing them jeans, big behind up and see this waist. Take time with the GBG, don't leave nobody like GBG. Woke up on the wrong side of bed, so he's gonna get sucked if I talk about peace today. I love my young boy, I won't lead him stray. I'm stuck to little bro like PVA. Paid already, I don't need no hit song. We don't need I got time till I get them all ticked off.
But fun that we don't ever. Okay, that's not the kind of reason. Is this motherfucker will play like that?
Number 13, Mr. All coming from the 3-point line right now. Oh shit, that nigga's all fucking oh, you hit out. What's he from? Saw him scope, I'm about to pay to the post. He ain't getting no, that nigga die. Lock up at your door. Let me in, bitch, I'm gon' need that net. Fuck you talking, folks. Stay up on that bitch. Don't get pressed. Take your hoe, give it go. Pass it to my left. And that fire toe. Lethal weapon. It ripped through your chest. First she got a big old booty. Told that bitch gon' make it bounce. Get up in that coochie, kill the candy dog around. They gon' hurt when I hurt. Cause they know what I'm about. She get wicked on this side. I suggest a different route. Hold the fuck up, nigga.
Bro, bro's gonna be the best country. Oh my god, this photo's actually shit. Brother, look at him.